Good morning, guys. How are you today? This is Lorenzo YouTube channel. Thank you so very much for subscribing, liking, and sharing all our YouTube content. We do really appreciate it. We don't take it for granted that you are out there commenting, liking, sharing, and giving us some feedbacks, which is meant to help us improve and do better with the content we are sharing with you. We really do appreciate it. In our last video, we discussed a couple of things about ground operation procedure, the processes that are involved in ground operation, passenger and aircraft management and handling. And today we are going to be dwelling in a particular sector of that ground operations. We are going to be dwelling in aircraft management, especially when you have to do with ground service equipment. We'll start with pushback. What is pushback first? You usually see when you're on board the aircraft. For some of us that are not aviators, this may be relevant or important to you. For some of us that are already aviators, it's something you already know. And for some of us who are not aviators, but they are considering one or two careers in aviation, I think this information is for you. I know most of the time when you're flying, you see some equipment being connected to the nose wheel, front tire of the aircraft, and you see that the aircraft is moving back. The aircraft is actually being pushed back. The reason for the pushback sometimes is to push the aircraft to a safe zone for engine start. Because of the way some airports are situated, it is not actually safe to do engine start at certain places to avoid what is called jet blast, because the amount of thrust that is produced by the engines of some aircraft like 777 that produces about 77,000 pounds of thrust, it may cause a very serious accident and may even cost lives. So because of that, aircraft is actually pushed back to a safe zone for engine start. Yes, that's what a pushback is. I will come down to the place of ground serviceable equipment, just like GPU, what we call ground power equipment, is actually meant to provide electricity and electrical power to the aircraft, especially when the APU, what we call auxiliary power unit, is not working. When the APU is not serviceable, you use an external receptacle, which is the ground power unit, to provide electrical power to the aircraft, to the FMS, to all the electrical units, so that the aircraft will have electrical power to impute some things and to help the pilot get the aircraft ready for flight, imputing their routines and everything, checking all the electrical components to make sure the aircraft is in check for flight, of course before the engine starts. And then you have another one we'll call ASU, air starter unit. It's actually meant to provide bleed air, that's hot air. For an engine to start, inside the engine combustion chamber, there's a place that we need bleed air, hot air, to be injected, as well as fuel, jet A1, to be injected for combustion to take place. So when the APU is when it's unserviceable, we need an external receptacle to provide that bleed air for engines to start. That's why you see air starter unit most of the time connected. For some aircraft like 737, they are connected under the aircraft to produce that bleed air, very hot air at a very high temperature, for engine to start, since the APU is no longer providing that, because it's supposed to be the function of the APU. But since the APU is not serviceable, they are now looking for an alternative, which is now a ground air starter unit. Now, I want to talk about air conditioning cart. Some of us don't know about air conditioning cart. Air conditioning cart, or AC cart, is another ground serviceable equipment that is used to produce or to provide air conditioning system to the aircraft. When the APU is not working again, it will be difficult for you to provide air conditioning system or air conditioning inside the aircraft until the engine eventually picks up and takes up that load or that job. So air conditioning cart is usually connected to the aircraft to provide ventilation and comfortability for the passengers. Now we'll talk about the toilet bowser. Some of us don't know what is called toilet bowser. Do you actually know that all your waste products, I mean, when you defecate, when you go to the toilet, when you use the restroom in the toilet in the aircraft, is actually being removed with what is called toilet bowser? They are connected to the aircraft and removed for the next service. So they actually get to a certain level that you can no longer go on another flight until those waste products have been removed. So these are basic ground serviceable equipment that you may have seen around the airport and you're wondering what are these things doing here. So in our next video, we'll be explaining more in depth about ground serviceable equipment. Some of them we did not mention here, yes, but for now, thank you so much. Keep liking, sharing, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. Cheers.